think Donald Trump could quite literally end Israel's actions, as many American presidents have, with one fucking phone call. Donald Trump can't make a million phone calls and get Vladimir Putin to do his bidding. So, no, it's not the fucking same situation. It's not the same situation at all. Having said that, if you're looking at it from the most reductive lens, a much larger country pummeling a smaller country, because Ukraine and Russia is two sovereign states fighting one another, okay? One party is obviously overwhelmingly in the wrong and doing the wrong, okay? The other party is simply defending itself. Then, yeah, on that front, yes, Israel versus the Palestinian children that are being fucking slaughtered with regular frequency is, it has some similarities, yes. One is an irredentist act from a foreign adversary. The other is a foreign ally which has decided to do whatever the fuck it wants and can simply do whatever the fuck it wants to a country it is the belligerent occupier of already. It's like saying India versus Pakistan is like Israel, Palestine. It's the dumbest shatters. Yeah. You can simply force Russia to stop by invading them. Dude, why didn't America think of that? That seems like a brilliant idea. You can make your allies who have entertained the comforts only because they're your permanent allies do things. You can't do that to an adversary. An adversary with nukes that has designed his entire nuclear arsenal around fighting back against America. Unless you think that, like, unless you think ban all trade. I mean, sure. I great. I don't have an issue with that. I mean, I want it to be fucking done to Israel as well. But they did already do that. That's why Donald Trump is entertaining secondary tariffs to India now, because India is used as like a way for Russian oil to enter the global market. Yeah, don't siege Stalingrad, just take it. Definition of world war is when two great powers directly fight. For your information, there is no world war in the current stage because World War II ended with a nuclear bomb. That is the reason why there is no more world war, unless we get to an environment where we just open up the permission structure to entertain nuclear holocaust. It's just, oh, mini nukes, tactical nukes. It's fine. It's like a baby nuke that was launched against a country that doesn't have nukes. You know, that type of shit. My point is, Ukraine isn't at fault for what Russia does. When did I say Ukraine is at fault? What do you think? I think that, like, oh, well, Ukraine's just standing there looking hot. Is that what you think I'm doing? I'm not saying that. Ukraine is not at fault. Why the fuck would Ukraine be at fault? Russia is the one who invaded. That's an entirely different conversation, which I'm not even entertaining at all. Ukrainian children are also slaughtered and you don't fucking talk about it? No, I do. I do talk about it. He saw an AI video of you saying things. Average American poli-sci majors. I don't really believe there were easy multiple off-ramps for Ukraine to settle before now, as any areas under Russian control basically get butchered. No, there were. It wouldn't have been an easy off-ramp, and Russia certainly might not have even entertained it for a long enough time. This is true, right? There is no assurance that Russia would not have continued its military incursion into Ukraine. They very well could have done that, okay? Just like Israel did. But my argument always was, okay, so you're back to square one, but you should always entertain a ceasefire. And at that point, if it could have been crafted and followed through on, then additional land grabs that Russia engaged in would not have happened. How can you expect to negotiate if you can't trust your enemy to not reinvade? There was a ceasefire and Russia broke it. I mean, here, I'll give you a great example. Hamas. Did you see me yell at Hamas for doing a ceasefire, even though I also said Israel is most likely going to violate it? No, I didn't say that. You want to know why I didn't say that? Because I'm not fucking stupid and bloodthirsty. You're yelling at Ukraine for Russia violating the ceasefire? Wait, what? No, I'm not. I think a lot of you guys simply want me to say, like, there is no peace for there's no opportunity for a ceasefire, and that we need to like invade Russia or something. Okay? No, you're talking about the second round of negotiations under Trump. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the first negotiations that took place when Biden was president. That's not what I'm talking about. Analysis: Putin's claim that war on Ukraine is the target Nazis is absurd. Here's why. What is this? This is my analysis too. It's so fucking stupid. I've never lent credence to Putin's idiotic claim that like he was denazifying Ukraine. I don't know why you're sending this to me. I've actively made fun of this idiotic argument, which is, of course, the same argument that fucking Israel also tried to launch. Oh. Hopes for a quick entry to NATO, EU fade further. Ukraine has long expressed a desire to join the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, which is seen by many. This was never going to happen. It was always a non-starter, and every single fucking European ally, including the United States of America, knew that it was a non-starter, and they just actively lied about it in the media, while simultaneously sometimes being truthful. Russia has the world's weirdest Nazis. Look at Dugin. No, I know. But also, look at ACP. We got some weird ass fucking nationalists ourselves. Why? Why can't it happen? Well, look at Ukraine right now. Why does not Ukraine and Georgia get accepted into EU or NATO? Why can't Georgia or Ukraine get accepted into EU or NATO? That's the only way to survive, it seems. This is where you have to assume that the opposition, no matter how bloodthirsty, still has like some semblance of logic in the way that they behave. They do not want to be encircled by the enemy. Why can't Cuba or Canada and Mexico join a Chinese military alliance? Yeah, it's similar to that. You don't know, but what you're talking about this. Ukraine will be in NATO the same year that Turkey will join. You mean the same year Turkey will join the EU? So why didn't they invade the Baltics or Finland when they were floating NATO? Well, because Finland did the NATO thing expertly. They joined only after they realized that Russia did not have the capacity to fucking also open up a new front. That's why. Before the invasion of Ukraine, Finland had not joined NATO at all. It was not something that was entertained. There was a blanket neutrality. Now Finland has to do 5% GDP. So good luck. Good luck to the Finnish chatters on Americanizing the Finlandization of NATO. I NATOize Finland. Finland has been taking advantage of us for years. That's right, believe it. It's time for Finland to no longer take advantage of us. You're an American talking to an American audience that has at least a small chance to influence our government to stop influencing our government to stop enabling genocide. We as Americans are not enabling Russia's imperialist expansion. All of our politicians already hate Russia, but they love Israel. Chatters want you to expend equal coverage of Ukraine for literally no political gains. Chatters don't understand that. No, but I have also covered Ukraine. Of course, I've covered Israel far more than I've covered Ukraine because we have far more involvement. And we have also far more power over ending the bloodshed in Gaza than we do over ending the bloodshed in Ukraine. You left Austin Show's birthday. Exactly. In Finland, we're literally Americafying. Our right-wing government is following Trump's policy step by step. Help us. No, it's over. What is this? In Russia, you would be arrested. Von der Leyen tells a protester as he's being arrested.
They can be happy that they are in a free country like Finland, where the free speech is a right, where they have not any restrictions. If they would be in Moscow...
Bro, this is literally this, dude. Europe is so America coded, dude. This is a very American moment. That's awesome. This is like we see this happening in America basically every day. Like they'll just like arrest someone. They'll arrest like Mahmoud Khalil, right, for the crime of criticizing Israel. And I'll be like, this is so fucked up. This is so unacceptable. And chatters will be like, ha! If you had this kind of commentary, you'd be arrested in China, brother. And it's like, dude, what? I'm talking about a dude who literally just got arrested and saying this is not supposed to happen in America. And now you want me to be arrested for even criticizing the fucking arrest. Bro, it gets worse. Not just any protester or candidate running for European Parliament elections 2024 in opposition. This took place in the middle of elections. A total silence from the so-called free media. Monday will be sitting in court in Helsinki for a peaceful protest. I mean, I don't know who the dude is that got arrested, okay? Whenever people say stuff like this, it just like freaks me out a little bit. The account that posted that video is a freak. Yeah, I can totally see that. I don't know. I don't know who the guy is that got arrested. That doesn't really make it any better. It's still hilarious and incredibly hypocritical to just be like, yeah, they'd arrest you in Moscow for this. It's like, okay, well, you're arresting him here. Radical steps must be taken to force Putin to partake in good faith negotiations. In my opinion, U.S. peacekeeping troops, including BRICS countries, must enter Ukraine and force Putin into a position where he has to choose either negotiate or attack the peacekeepers. Yeah, Trump could end it with one phone call. Yeah, by releasing Ryan Ruth. Exactly. If only he unleashed Ryan Ruth and 1,000 NATO-trained Afghan soldiers.
What the hell?
Oh, we got South Park. Anyway, I don't know what the fuck. I don't know what the fuck's going to happen. I just don't think anything good is going to come out of this. I think we're so cooked. I think everyone is cooked. At this point, it's essentially guaranteed that Zelensky will be replaced by an ultra-nationalist, ultra-right-wing government, isn't it? Either he is ousted during the war or after, because he's already incredibly popular. Before the war started, his army was slated to be wiped out in 2020 elections. I can't imagine the Ukrainians have let that go of that animosity, especially now after years of war. No, the reason why they didn't like Zelensky was because he was too, like, pro-Russia. He seemingly was more on the side of, like, managing the relationship with Russia. That's why Ukrainians didn't like him. And then they actually liked him for a while when he was anti-Russia. I mean, also they did literally elect him because he was you know, because he was like the seemingly anti-corruption candidate. And some people believe that he would be able to manage the relationship with Russia. And then when he was like, obviously after Russia invaded, people did not have an issue with the way he was posturing. I think a major factor playing here is Zelensky's committing to a policy of non-mobilization earlier when they saw success on the field, Kherson. But as the war dragged and tactically Ukraine went on the back foot, the government started using methods of mobilization which were honestly hated by everyone, like plainclothes officers exiting out of a van and beating you to shit, then loading you up and conscripting you is wild. Yeah. Like, there's a level of that you can get away with, I guess, in Russia, but you can't really get away with that in Ukraine if, like, the entire point of Ukrainian sovereignty is that you don't do the Russian shit in Ukraine, and that's why you want to be a Western-facing nation. So obviously, a lot of people are going to be like, yeah, I don't want this. This is fucking ridiculous. That's why there's chatters in here that are, like, fucking hiding from the Ukrainian plainclothes officers so that they don't get, like, mobilized by force. Zelensky won 75% because he was anti-corruption. He became extremely unpopular before the war due to numerous corruption scandals. Yeah, the Panama Papers. At no point was he widely unpopular because he was not sufficiently pro-Ukraine. No, I'm saying that a lot of Zelensky's critics. I already said that. I said that Zelensky won as the anti-corruption guy, and then it turns out he was also corrupt, which people weren't very happy with. But most importantly, there was also a lot of criticism against Zelensky because they thought that he would be a moderating force and he wasn't aggressive enough against Russia, against Russian incursion. Our effort has declined steadily across all segments of the Ukrainian population, regardless of region or demographic group. The shift comes as diplomatic efforts gain new traction. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has signaled readiness for direct talks with Russian President Vladimir Putin, proposing renewed negotiations, while U.S. President Donald Trump is attempting to pressure the Kremlin with the threat of sanctions. Despite these moves, the conflict continues largely unabated. Daily missile and drone attacks persist, and fighting remains intense among multiple sections of the front line. Lasting end to active fighting not expected to arrive soon. Though a clear majority of Ukrainians now favor a negotiated end of the war as soon as possible, most are skeptical that active fighting will end soon. 1 in 4, 25% think it's likely that active fighting will come to an end within the next 12 months. Although only 5% see it as very likely. Over 2/3, 68%, over 68% think it's unlikely that active fighting will come to an end in the next year. Ukrainians sour on Washington but see a role for U.S. in the peace negotiations. Ukrainians' view on the most prominent military ally have shifted decisively since the early months of the war. In 2025, 16% of Ukrainians approve of U.S. leadership. No shit. While 73% expressed disapproval, a record high. All the goodwill that Washington built up in 2022 when 66% approved of U.S. leadership has evaporated. I mean, it's been a nosedive ever since, though. Let's be real. Zelensky literally proving you right. Back during his meeting in the U.S., he said there should be only fighting, no talks, and now he walked it back, and the majority of the Ukrainian population is also. So what are these chatters saying? Yeah. Ukrainian goodwill towards Washington evaporates. No shit. It is especially a no shit moment after Donald Trump literally fucking pulled Zelensky to the table to bully him and yell at him. And then also got duped by Vladimir Putin, who dangled like a potential ceasefire negotiation in front of him. And then made Donald Trump embarrass our fucking proxy. Oh. Yeah, why would China care? Also China. China brokered the Saudi-Iran deal, driving wave of reconciliation, says Wong. I mean, there's a difference here. The reason why they did this is because it's beneficial for both parties for them to no longer war over Yemen. Tensions between Kyiv and Washington have risen in 2025 after Trump's return to office. A tense meeting between Trump and Zelensky in the Oval Office late in February coincided with a temporary pause in U.S. military assistance. That was insane. By contrast, perceptions of Germany have improved significantly this year. Leadership approval of Berlin has reached a record high of 62%, despite Germany's more cautious stance in the war's early months. Approval of Russia's remains negligible, 1%, while China continues to receive low ratings, 8%, as it has since the war began. Despite sharp disapproval of U.S. leadership, most Ukrainians still view Washington as having a meaningful role to play in the resolving the conflict. 70% believe the U.S. should play a significant role in peace talks, in line with views towards EU countries, 75%, and the UK, 71%. Although some negotiations have recently taken place in Turkey, 55% of Ukrainians supported significant involvement, notably lower. The only ones the only ones screaming Slava Ukraine is the Turks. Again, if you're saying Ukraine is a responsibility to stop the war with Russia, you're also saying Palestine is a responsibility to stop the war with Israel. Is this the exact same situation minus who backs them? Minus who backs them? Who backs them, I think, is a pretty fucking big deal, don't you think?
No more brownies in heaven. Hey, Satan.
I do legitimately think that the real world is like so fucked that it's impossible to appropriately parody. You know what I mean? Like, how can you satirize an administration that is like actively doing basically the same shit that they're like
Boss.
actively shot her puppy in the fucking head and then dropped her in a fucking pile, like in a hole in the ground. And then she wrote about it in a book. Like, why do we know about that? We shouldn't know about that. We know about it because she wrote about it in a fucking book, dude.
Let's get out there and get them, recruits. Together we can make it happen.
Oh, yeah, she also killed... Oh! I have the full one. Do you want to watch the full one? I have, like, someone just uploaded the straight up... Oh, my God. Oh, my God. He just destroyed them. Fucking absolute principle being power Christian principle is fucking awesome. Okay, that's kind of
qualify you, or would probably have somebody in the upper levels of the Democratic Party say, okay, we'll never work with this guy again.
Yeah.
Do you regret sending those tweets?
I think they have to get over it. I don't regret them. I love poking the bear on the right. I feel like Republicans are so good at owning the space. Republicans do this thing where they say, you know...
Yeah, he has issues with jokes you've made. Yeah, that's the other side of the story, that he's just like so goddamn annoying with the whole, like, the guy who literally actively defends white people saying the N-word will like freak the fuck out because I said cracker. And then his stupid ass fucking audience will try to defend that principle as though it's like even remotely defensible. It is such whiny loser crybaby shit too. He literally constantly doxes people, points them to Kiwi Farms threads. He's disgusting. Yeah. He is the perfect defender of Israel in that